So I'm just doing again one recap. Okay. So we need to enable a developer settings, development mode before doing anything of VisualForce development. Okay. So all you need to go my settings, and then you need to go personal settings. Then you have to choose advanced user details. In that, click on edit. There will be two options called enable development mode and show view state. You need to enable these two checkboxes. Once you enable, click on save. You can create Apex pages in two different places. Either you can go setup and you can go Apex pages. Sorry, it's a pages, VisualForce pages, where you can click new and you can create your own page. This is allowed. There is other way of doing that. You can update after salesforce.com. You can replace with Apex / your page name. Let me put VF underscore, otherwise I will put standard page. The standard page is a first example. Okay. So once if the page exists, it will open. If not exists, it will allow you an option called create page, standard page. Now I'm creating. Okay, this is the page where now you can see I'm going to set up again. The difference between there and here is two pages, VisualForce pages. What is the page name we created now? Standard page, right? Edit. Now whatever you do, let me put bold, first page P. So whatever I save here, I need to preview from here again. I need to refresh my page. You can see the code you are saving at one place and you are preview at another page. So it's something like you are not getting a hands-on. I mean, it's not so user-friendly in this case, right? So for this, you will be having, once you enable development mode, you will get a VisualForce code and bottom of your screen. Now, whatever you changes here, center and fine. Now whatever you do, it will come directly output. Okay. Hello. Yeah. Okay. Now but let me put center. Standards in VisualForce page. Actually this topic is explained before, but still I am taking that you didn't join. Okay. What was it? Why we need VisualForce pages? Why we need VisualForce pages? Yeah. No. To give a reliable output interface to a end user. To give reliable user interface using custom applications. Standard objects is interface. Yeah. Yeah. VisualForce will give you a user interface where you can manipulate, you can display more than one object records on a user clicks in same page. This is the one point. Okay, clear? Hello, Manish, you there or you? Okay. And then what is the second point? In VisualForce, why we need p tag? Yes, exactly. VisualForce can create without or with controllers. With or without controllers. VisualForce you can create with or without controllers. Okay. And the next one. Controllers. How many types of controllers we have? Yes, exactly. We have two controllers. What are they? Standard controller and custom controller, right? We have standard controller and custom controller. What a standard controller means? What is standard controller refers to? S objects of which type? Yeah. Only standard objects or only custom objects? Like that I am asking. S objects can be standard and custom objects. So any Salesforce object can be a standard controller. Any Salesforce object can be a standard controller. Okay. Any Salesforce object can be a standard controller. And what about custom controller? What is custom controller? All Apex classes are considered as custom controller. All Apex classes are considered as custom controllers. Okay. This is not there. Fine. And we have another type of controller. You missed it. We have extension controller. We have another controller called extension controller. It's a controller only which give additional functionality to a controller. Extensions is a interface. It's generally we'll say that what is a abstractions. Yeah. So which will help to provide additional functionality to the standard controller and custom controller. Okay, which will extension will help you to provide additional functionality to the standard controller or custom controller. Okay, fine. And okay, this is fine. Now let me come back out. What are the benefits you will get by using SDA stand? What are the benefits you will get by using standard controller? What are the benefits you will get by using standard controller? Any idea? Yeah. I'm asking you. Okay, then. Okay. Okay. Is there another place we can use? Yeah. So generally, if you see, okay, we can use by using standard controller. First point you will get using standard controller. Okay, you can able to use. We can able to override the S object actions like custom buttons and links with the VisualForce page. Okay, if you refer to standard controller, then it will allow you to okay, use in HTML pages. Clear? I mean, it will allow you to update your buttons, custom links and buttons. What I mean to say here, if I say accounts, okay, yesterday we created one page, right? You remember? Hello? Yeah. So with that only you can able to override list button. Otherwise, detail page link, anything. Instead of URL, you can select VisualForce. You will get the VisualForce which implemented account only. There are so many VisualForce available, but you will not able to update. You can override the action buttons using the VisualForce which are implemented on standard controller. Okay. Here I am created one page, but I am not able to refer in a standard page. See, I am not getting standard page here. Why I am not getting? Because I am not using any account here as a standard controller. Okay. So once you enable, you can use standard controller to that, and you are allowed to use the VisualForce page in page layouts. You are allowed to use VisualForce in page layout. I mean, if you go to accounts page layout, accounts page layouts, you can add the VisualForce which are implemented the standard controller of the same type. Now you will get a related list here like VisualForce pages. There you can drag and drop the page where whatever you wanted, and you can define your settings and everything. You are not allowed to use all pages. The pages which will available in the page layout which are implemented in the same object as a standard controller. Got the point? You are with me? See, simple Apex pages. Okay, now we are using which page is this? Standard up page, right? Yes. Using standard controller, you are able to override S-object actions like custom buttons and links in VisualForce pages. In 1 minute, in yes. Now you can see I am going accounts, okay, buttons and links. I can create new action button, and I can choose type of object is account, and record type something, okay, subject standard log a call. 1 minute. No. Yeah, I wanted to create new button. I'm creating new button, and here I can choose VisualForce is my button type. You can see a VisualForce pages. What we are created already in the org. As examples I was saying, yesterday we were discussing, right? That time these pages got created. And yeah, and you can override the new button functionality with the VisualForce pages. These VisualForce pages ultimately had implemented standard controller account type. Demo VF page 1, that page need to implement standard controller equal to account in the page code. Yes, only then you are allowed to override, otherwise system will not allow you to override. Yeah. And the next point, whenever you are use a standard control, you are allowed to use VisualForce page in the page layouts of the okay. Where you want to create? You want to create button in Apex pages? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And then now accounts. Now I am going to page layouts. Okay. The second point I am talking about page layouts. Edit. I can add the page layout, VisualForce in my page layout, which are implemented account type as a standard controller. Now you can see. VisualForce page. Yeah. Now if I open any detailed page, now you can see test I am called. Got it? Uh, we can use VF page layout in the page layouts. Okay. Now let me edit this one. Okay, save. Now let me go back. Using this, you are allowed to use standard actions over the S objects. Actions like light, save, edit, cancel. You can use actions like save, edit, actions, right? Clear? So these are the things where you will get. Let me put this as a H3 little. Let me custom controller you can't use because those are custom. How can you refer standard functions in custom? In custom controller is Apex class. If I say save, how can custom controller will know save is a save method? Write a different method and call that method. That's actual implementation of. Let's see only the things which in the standard controller do. Okay. You have to write a code for that logic. Yes. And if you want to extend any sort of standard actions functionality to overcome your business functionality, to overcome your business functionality, you can use extensions to gain the requirement. If you want to gain additional functionality other than the save, if I click save, I don't want to save. I wanted to validate my code and then I need to create some other records. I need to get a validations and everything. If I want to do all this logic in my save action, then I have to use extensions method so that I can engage the rest of the functionality inside one click. Okay? And extensions can be one or more than one for a single page. Extensions can be one or more than one for a single page. And extensions methods are not allowed to be a duplicate name and signature to it. So you are not supposed to create a duplicate methods and with a same parameters. You can create a same method but with a different parameters. Okay, this is one. Hello. Yeah. Using you are allowed to use Apex detail tag directly to display a sort of records from the detail layout. You are allowed to display sort of record. Yesterday we were seeing, right, Apex detail tag. So you are allowed to display. You are allowed to use record set variable to display the list of data, list of subject records in a VisualForce data table. You are allowed to use record set variable to display a list of object records in a VisualForce data table. Okay. Using JavaScript remoting, you are allowed to update your record from the VF page without any Apex controllers. You can able to write your code with the Apex controllers without Apex controller using JavaScript remoting functionality. It is also known as on-click JavaScript functionality. It is also known as on-click JavaScript functionality. Okay. Why become dull? Sounds like dull. Hello. Okay. Control Z. Okay. This is which controller? Standard controller. Okay. What about extension? You know all these tags? Okay. Okay. Okay, fine. Now we'll see. Okay. What is the benefits you are getting from a custom controller? What are the benefits you will get using controller? What is the custom controller syntax for a VisualForce? It's just a controller. Okay. What are the benefits you will get from a controller? UI. I'm just copying all this so that it would be easy for me to write. UI. Copy tag. Custom controllers are Apex class. Custom controllers are Apex classes. Okay. you are not allowed to override any sort of object, buttons or links. You are not allowed to override any sort of buttons or links. Okay. And third option, you are not allowed to use the custom controller page in any sort of page layouts. Any sort of page layouts. Clear? Okay. And you are not allowed to use any sort of standard action functions like save, edit, and then which one? What is the other function we have? Cancel. We are not allowed to use any sort of standard action functions like save, edit, and cancel. You are allowed to use extensions in custom controller VF page. You are allowed to use custom controllers VF page. Okay. Extensions can be one or more than one. Extensions can be one or more than one. You are not allowed to use any sort of Apex page tags which are dependent on standard functions, standard controllers like Apex detail, record set where. All these functions you are not allowed to use inside custom controller. Yes. You are allowed to use JavaScript remotings. You are allowed to use JavaScript remoting. You are allowed to use async Apex jobs using VisualForce page. Instead of job, method calling using VisualForce page with uncount of system limits. Okay. Clear to this point? Okay. Now, what you observe from this, is this clear for you, or is something like you should need to keep in a note again? Okay. And this is one, okay? Asynchronous jobs, that we'll discuss. As now, you just remember this sentence. It's a functionality. Okay. And what is this? You. Now we'll discuss P, H1, H1. What happens when standard controller page loads with it contains standard controller page loads without extensions. What happens? VisualForce loads without any extensions. Okay, clear? Center. What happens? Any idea? Or you did anything something like this before? Okay, so you mean to say generally we will not use extension. That's what you are commenting, right? Okay, let me open up. Is it? Are you sure? See, if I want a VisualForce without extensions, without additional functionality, then why should I go for a VisualForce page? Now you can see this is my extensions. Yesterday we implemented an extension only. Day before yesterday is only Apex detail. That's what that type of pages will not give a advanced functionality. Okay, if you want to write, yeah. So generally you can create a VisualForce pages. If you want to give a proper VisualForce page, you need to have a extensions. Okay. What happens if you load your page for a first time? Okay. Hmm. Okay. We have, but our VisualForce will allow either controller or standard controller. It will not allow you to use two tags. A system will not allow you to use that. Let me put like this. Okay. System, if I say that, considering that this is my controller, okay, instead of extension, let me put controller, okay. This is what you mean to say, right? System will not allow you to use controller. Unknown constructor, okay, let me put ECT1, okay, control X. Apex class do not exist, let me create. I just created. A custom and standard controller cannot be referenced in the same page. So system will not allow you to use that one. So no issues. Exactly. And what happens when constructor load? Whenever page loads, you remembered yesterday what you did for Apex detail page to get output? No. Not yesterday. We just opened right related list, detail page and everything using Apex detail tag, right? What we did to get the data? You remembered we passed ID. Whenever page loads, the controller, standard controller, standard DRD controller checks the parameters of the page if any provided or not. Then page will render. First it will check parameters, then it will try to display data. If there is no parameters, then it will display blank data. Okay, in case of standard controller. Without extensions, clearly represent without extension. Let me complete one by one. Yes. Your the record set is declared in page. It will try to get all the records from the S object into the page state. This will see there is a one variable called record set, where if you declare that page, it will try to fetch all the information from your Salesforce account record or any other records, whichever controller you are using, standard controller. From that object it will try to fetch all the information into that variable, and you can use in your VisualForce pages, right? This is what it will do. So now let me put the save. With extensions. Now with extensions. Whenever page load, the standard controller checks the parameter of the page, if any provided or not, then the page will render. Okay? But the only change is CS. You will control set, sorry. The difference comes from here. Now we need to concentrate little bit. Now you can see I am just partitioning again the page, okay? First point. We need to keep a note for this. First point, how it goes. If you are using the standard controller variable reference in page layout, then page will render the data based on the query param provided. Based on the query param provided. If you are using a standard controller variable reference, in page layout, then page will render the data based on the query param provided. Just by heart the lines, okay? And the next one we had, if we are using the page referenced variables, referenced variables from the extension class, then page standard controller will not take any actions to display data. Developer need to handle the entire functionality. Now if you try to reference variables from a Apex extension controller to a VisualForce page, it's a developer responsibility to do a code functionality saying that he will get entire functionality from a Apex coding. Okay. Apex class controllers have ability to read a data query params provided at the page load. So there will be chances where you can provide page load. Okay. And here I missed one sentence. Okay, find that. Okay. See, after Apex extension controller standard extension controller constructor of standard page type, standard current page type will load first. Standard controller extension controller constructor of standard page type will load first. Here you need to allocate the memory or initialize the data variables at page load. Are you following? Yeah. You have to do your onload queries from this constructor. It will load only first time page loads. It will load only first time page loads. Set dot redirect equal to true will load the constructor of the page again. You are allowed to keep your data until 135 KB in one transactional page. The data variables to be declared as get and set properties. Using cn keyword, you can minimize the page occupancy size in a client side. Okay, so only 2 points only, but the only problem is on load functionality will get updated. And one more thing, you can create your own functionality. You can create your own functionality using extension methods. You can override the standard methods of Salesforce like save, edit and cancel. You can override standard methods like save. You are allowed to create your own methods, or you can override the standard methods of Salesforce like save, edit or cancel. And you are allowed to redirect to new pages. You are allowed to redirect to new pages with history of data, history of values. This we'll discuss, but these are the things we need to keep in mind while programming the VisualForce pages. Each and every point we need to recall for each and every line of a VisualForce page. What happens whenever, I will tell you one secret, okay? Okay. So, competency. What is this? I just forgot. I just forgot. Unmentioned competency. What is the terminology? We will say that something like he don't know something. What we will say further technically? English word. Compatible. That is okay.